Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I am so very glad that you decided to join me today. Now, our practice today will be a balance-based flow. You may want some props or a wall beside you to help out with that, but we will be really focusing on the muscles on the bottoms of our feet to help with our balance and coordination, as well as our flexibility and strength through our hips. Now, if that sounds good to you, go ahead and roll out your mat and we'll flow right into it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Stay firm. Sending that right foot back. Now we will begin our practice on our floor in a corpse pose in our Savasana. Finding a comfortable place to take a few moments to yourself to focus your thoughts on your practice, to bring your awareness back into your body, and to start to slow or deepen the breath. Once we found a comfortable place, we can take a moment to drop the shoulders a little further away from the ears, to close the eyes, and we'll take a large breath in through the nose and let it go as an open mouth sigh. Do 2 more breaths like this, breathing in through the nose, filling the chest and abdomen with air, and an open mouth sigh to let it go. One more big breath in through the nose. We'll take a few more sips of air at the very top, fully filling the lungs. And again, open mouth sigh to let it go. Now we'll bring our arms out to our sides in a cactus pose. The fingertips are pointed to the back of our space. We'll point the toes up to the front. We're pressing into the elbows as well as the backs of the hands. Now, if you can only do one or the other, just try doing a little tipping forward and back and noticing. As we start to open up across the collarbones, it may even be helpful to kind of rock side to side so you can walk both shoulder blades into the spine. We'll take a few more deep breaths here. Feeling the chest lift, the ribs expand, noticing more space across the collarbones before letting the breath go again. Now I'll start to walk the bottoms of the feet in towards the body. And if you notice that you have this space in the low back where you are not touching the mat, we'll lift the hips, tuck them forward, and settle them back down. So we're grounding into the earth. We have a strong, stable base to work from. And then we'll heel toe the feet towards the outer edges of our mat and find a little windshield wipering back and forth. So we'll drop both knees in the same direction, lifting them up through center and moving them to the other side. We can move as quickly or as slowly as feels right in your body. You may notice that finding that internal rotation on your inside leg feels really good, or it might feel a little challenging and you may want to sit with that for a little while. We'll bring the knees back up towards the ceiling. If our arms are still in a cactus, that's great. If you're starting to feel a little stress In the shoulders, we can always bring the hands down towards the body or alongside our mat. From here, we'll lift the bottoms of the feet up off the mat, finding kind of a 90-degree angle with the knees. And we're going to do the same motion as before, windshield wipering over to one side, coming through center and over towards the other side as we start to warm up our center, warm up our core. And we'll come back through center again. Now taking the feet up towards the ceiling, we can reach the hands up as well. We'll wiggle out the toes. We'll wiggle out the fingers. We'll circle the ankles and the wrists. We'll point and flex. And then we'll bring our knees out and down towards the chest. We can use our peace signs, our pointer and middle fingers, to loop around our toe, finding a toe lock. Or we can grab for the outside edges of our feet. We'll start to pull the knees gently down towards the floor. So our knees are out beside our rib cage, so we can gently pull down. Now this is our happy baby, and we can find some movement, some play in this pose as well. Maybe lengthening through one leg or through the other. Maybe we'd like to find a plow pose by lifting the hips off the mat, extending the legs and the toes past your head. Or maybe you would like to stay here in your happy baby, and it feels good to gently pull the legs down as we're starting to soften through the hips. We're going to add a little bit of a flow here. Letting go of the feet. With our exhale, we'll drop them over towards our left side. Inhale through center, grab for the feet, exhale to pull the feet down. Inhale to gently let go, move back to our cactus, exhale towards our right side. Inhale back through center, exhale to gently pull down. Inhale to let go. Exhale, drop the knees towards the left. Now we'll continue moving with our breath, or at a rate that feels good to your body. Keep in mind with any of the flows that I show you, you can always change them up. This is your own practice. If you don't like the happy baby in the middle, you can just reach the hands and feet up towards the ceiling, or instead you can hug the knees in towards the chest. Or find any other variation. You can take out that pause in the middle and just continue to windshield wiper the legs side to side. And the next time that we are back to a neutral spine, next time our backs are grounded to the floor, we'll grab behind our thighs to our hamstrings, and we'll start to find a rocking forward and back motion. We'll make our way to a standing position from here. So we can rock all the way forward, coming onto our feet, pressing the hands into the floor and lifting us up. We'll move to our Tadasana pose, our mountain pose. Lifting the shoulders up to the ears, we'll work them back and down the spine, pulling the palms forward to help us roll the shoulders back. We'll gently draw the chin in and tip the hips forward, pressing through the toes. And we'll take a few deep breaths here. Maybe doing a scan through the body, noticing how our body is feeling. Noticing if there's any areas that we're feeling a little tense or tight. Noticing if there's areas that we want to focus a little more on in our practice today. And we'll come back to our breath. Bring a large breath in through the nose. Let it go from the mouth. With our next in breath, in through the nose, we'll send the arms up towards the ceiling. With our exhale, we'll cactus the arms, maybe adding a baby back bend by shining the chest forward and taking the eyes up, or staying here. With our inhale, we'll reach the hands up. Exhale, we'll bow from the waist, hinging forward and moving to our forward fold. Inhale, we'll find a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And we'll take a little bit of time here in our forward fold to wiggle and to play, to notice. We can grab for opposite elbows and find a sway side to side. We can pedal out through the legs, bending one knee and then the other. We can find a slight bounce, or we can swivel the hips, or whatever else feels right and allows you to start to warm up. Coming back to our breath again. With our next in-breath, we'll move to that halfway lift again. Now we're wanting to be really active with our half lifts in this practice. So we're pressing into our toes. We're engaging through the legs. So we are pulling the kneecaps up the body so we can squeeze the thighs. And we're squeezing the glutes. For our core, we want it to be stable. We're pulling the ribs and hip bones in a little closer and drawing the belly button in and up. And then we're squeezing the shoulder blades in towards the spine. We can still have the hands on the legs, or we can float, pressing down through the toes, engaging through the body. With an exhale, we'll hinge from the waist again. We'll nod the head yes. We'll shake the head no. Allow the upper body to be heavy, imagining that we have stones in the hands. And we'll start at the base of our spine, adding a little more bend to the knees. We'll really take our time, slow rolling up the spine, drawing that belly button in. We're using our core to lift us back up to standing, lifting the neck last. And then we can find some shoulder rolls or some shrugs at the top. And back to our breath again. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. With our exhale, we'll move to our cactus, optional back bend. Inhale to reach the hands up. We'll press into the feet as we shift the hips back and down, bending the knees, moving to a chair pose. We'll pause here. We can bring hands to heart center, or we can keep them out in front. We're engaging through the core. Now noticing if you're starting to feel some pinching in the low back, try tucking your hips under, giving you a little more space down in your low back. We'll press into the feet. With an in-breath, we'll reach the hands towards the sky. Exhale to our cactus. Inhale to reach tall. Exhale, hinge from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Be strong, engage the core. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan dive the arms. Back towards the ceiling. Exhale to our chair pose. With an inhale, we'll reach back up towards the ceiling as we move our weight into our left foot. We'll pick up the right knee, and we're lifting tall with that right leg. Now we want our foot active, so we can either have the toes pointed straight out in front of the body or straight down towards the floor, either way, but we want the foot active. Now we're going to rotate the foot and then bring the leg in towards the left. So we're moving to our figure 4 from here. Our knee is out towards our right side. Toes are pointed down, hands come to heart center. And we'll start to add our chair variation by bending in that left knee, shifting the hips back and down. We can keep the arms hovering here, or we can bring the arms down towards the leg. And then we'll hinge a little further, dropping the hands down towards the floor or onto some props before we let the right leg slide down. And then we'll press back through the right heel as we slowly lower our right toes down to the mat. With our in-breath, we'll lift the chest and find our crescent lunge pose. So we're high on our toes. We're trying to stack our right heel over our toes so that the bottom of our foot is nice and long. Bending into the left knee, the hips are towards the top of our mat. Our arms are up tall. With an exhale, we'll circle the arms all the way around to behind the body. We can plant the hands to the low back. We can turn the palms in towards each other, finding our prayer hands behind us. Or we can interlock the fingers, but we're pulling the shoulder blades back and in towards each other. And with an exhale, we'll move to our humble warrior pose. Hands can stay on the low back, or we can reach the hands up towards the ceiling. But we want those shoulders to stay back. Soften the chest to the inside of our left leg. And we'll press down through both feet with an inhale to lift us back up. Circle the arms all the way out and around and back up towards the ceiling. Now with our exhale, we can drop the hands down to frame out our front foot. We'll find a few forward and back shifting motions. And then we'll take flight in our warrior 3. Now we can keep our hands down on the floor, or we can lift them up, lengthening out through our left leg a little further. Flexing or pointing through our right foot. Our arms are engaged. We're pulling the shoulder blades in. And then we'll draw that right knee forward. Bring it all the way out in front of the body. Pointing or flexing with the right foot. And lifting tall through the right knee. And then we'll set the leg down. And we'll wriggle out to reset. Back to our breath work. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale to our cactus, optional back bend. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, chair pose. Shift the hips back. Press down into the toes. We'll hold. With our inhale, lifting through the legs, lifting through the arms. Exhale to cactus, pull those shoulder blades in. Inhale to reach tall. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, strong halfway lift, reaching forward with the top of the head. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan diving the arms will lift us up as we move our weight into our right leg. Pick up the left knee, lift it tall. We'll pause. We're either flexing or pointing. Now we'll rotate the whole of the leg, bringing the inside of our shin up towards the ceiling. As we bring it across our right leg, toes point down to the floor, hands come to heart center, figure 4. And then we'll bend through the right leg, finding our chair pose variation. Again, we can hover the forearms, or we can bring the forearms to connect with our leg. Now we'll drop our fingertips down towards the floor, lengthening out through our right leg a little more, sliding our left down, then sending it back, pressing back through the left heel, and we'll slowly float it down towards the floor, planting the feet. Inhale to lift the arms, lift the chest, crescent lunge. Again, we want our back heel stacked over our toes. So we're working the bottoms of our feet. We're stretching that plantar fascia. And we're engaging through our back leg as well as our front. With an exhale, we'll circle the arms down and around behind the body. We can bring them to the small of the back. We can find our prayer hands or interlock the fingers. And with an exhale, engaging through the core, reaching forward with the top of the head, we'll move to our humble warrior. With an inhale, we'll start to lift back up. Bring the hands around up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinging from the waist. We'll frame out our right foot with the hands, finding a little forward and back shifting motion before we take flight in our warrior 3. Pressing back through the left heel. We can bring hands to heart center, or we can float them behind the body. Our hips are parallel towards the floor, perpendicular to the top of our mat. And then we'll press that left knee all the way through. Reach it back up and top, back up in front of the body. And we'll set it down and wiggle out. Finding our breath work again. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms towards the sky. Exhale, hinge from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Strong core. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan dive the arms. Lift us to the ceiling. Exhale to cactus. Optional back bend. Inhale to lift. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale to lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Drop the hands down. We'll step, hop, or float our feet back to our plank pose. Spreading the fingertips out nice and wide so we can grip into the earth. We'll shift a little further forward onto the tippy toes. Exhale, chaturanga to an up dog or to a cobra. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, we'll send the hips up and back behind to our down dog. And wiggle out here. We can pedal out through the legs. We can swivel through the hips. Putting a little more bend to the knees. We'll really send the hips up and back behind. Now rocking forward onto our tippy toes. We'll drop the feet down, send the hips up and back. 2 more times. Rocking forward onto the tippy toes, reach the hips up. And then drop the heels back down. And 1 more time. Rocking forward onto the toes. And then dropping the heels down towards the floor. We'll lift our left leg up to the ceiling. Circle the ankle out in one direction. And then around in the other. We'll bend the knee. Draw knee to nose as we round through the spine. And drop the left foot at the top of our mat. We'll bring a large breath in through the nose. And an even larger breath back out. With our next inhale, moving to our crescent lunge. Again, we're stacking the heel over our toes so our back leg, back foot are engaged. With our exhale, we'll soften the chest forward, humble warrior. We can sweep the arms back behind like we do in our warrior 3. And then press through the floor, inhale to our lift. We'll do 2 more like this. Exhale, humble warrior, press through the feet. And inhale brings us back tall. 1 more time, exhale, soften forward. Inhale to lift. And then we'll lift a little bit taller, so we're on the tippy toes of both feet. We'll start to pivot the hips open to our right side, moving to our warrior 2. We're on the pinky side edge of both feet, so we have an open stance, open hips. We're reaching forward and back. Pressing evenly through both feet. With our inhale, we'll flip the front hand up towards the ceiling. Reach it up and over to the back of our mat. With our exhale, we'll cartwheel the arms, sending our right hand up and over the body towards the front of our mat, connecting our left elbow and our left knee. Inhale to our neutral warrior 2. We'll take a big movement here. Our back hand, our right hand, will drop down towards the floor as we pivot around on our back foot, dropping the right hand to the mat, reaching the left up for a gentle twist. And with our exhale, we'll circle that left hand all the way around, framing out our front foot. Now finding some forward and back shifting motions. When you're ready, take flight into your warrior 3. Flexing the back foot. Straightening out the left leg, pulling the shoulder blades in towards the spine, lifting the back leg in line with the hip. So we're squeezing with the glutes. And then we'll draw that right knee all the way forward, out in front of the body, lift it tall. And then we'll settle it down. Wiggling out through the body some more. And back towards the top of our mat. With an inhale, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinging from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan diving the arms back towards the ceiling. Exhale to our cactus. Inhale to lift. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale to reach tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Drop the hands down, step, hop, or float the feet back to our plank. Shifting forward, chaturanga to our up dog or our cobra. And then we'll send the hips up and back for our down dog. Wiggling out some more. And then we'll find our neutral down dog again. We'll shift forward onto the tippy toes. And then press the hips up and back and heels down. 2 more like before, rocking forward. And then sending the hips up and back, press down through the heels. 1 more time, lifting onto our tippy toes. And drop the heels down. We'll lift our right leg towards the sky. Circle the ankle out in one direction. And then around in the other. We'll bend at the knee. Draw our knee to the nose as we shift forward and step our right foot down. A full breath in through the nose. And an even larger breath back out. Pressing into the feet. Inhale for our crescent lunge. Lifting the back heel on top of the toes, bending into the right. We'll do 3 humble warriors, moving with the breath. Exhale to soften. Inhale to lift, crescent lunge. Exhale to soften. Inhale to lift. 1 more, exhale, soften. Inhale, lift. We'll lift a little bit taller, rocking onto the tippy toes of both feet as we start our pivot towards our left side, warrior 2. Rolling to the pinky side edge of our feet, bending into the right knee. With an inhale, we'll lift our right hand up and over the body to the back of our mat. Exhale to cartwheel the arms, connect elbow and knee, and reach the left hand to the top of our mat. Inhale back to our neutral warrior 2. Now our back hand. We'll drop down towards the floor as we move to our twist, pivoting onto the toes, reaching the right hand tall. Exhale to frame out the right foot with the hands. We'll again find our forward and back shift to give us the momentum to pop up on our right leg, warrior 3. Point the toes down, squeeze the glutes. Lift through the heel. And then we'll draw that left knee up towards the top of our mat, lifting it up towards the ceiling. And then we'll drop it down. And we'll wiggle out. We'll move through that flow 1 more time on each side. We'll go a little faster, but we'll take some of the poses out of it to help it move a little smoother. So we'll find the top of our mat, find our breath. With an inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale to our chair pose. Inhale to reach up, pick up our right leg. Drape it across our left, figure 4. Squat the hips down. Inhale to lift. We'll press the right heel back. Warrior 3. Drop the toes, crescent lunge. Exhale, humble warrior. Sweep the arms. Inhale to lift. We'll circle our right hand all the way up and around to pivot us to our warrior 2. Inhale, lift the left hand up and over the body. Exhale, cartwheel the arms. Reach the right hand to the top of our mat. Inhale, warrior 2. Circle the right hand all the way down and around. Do our twist. Exhale, soften the left hand. Frame out the foot. Inhale to our warrior 3. Draw the right knee up in front of the body. And we'll set it down. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky. Exhale to our chair. Inhale to lift up. Pick up the left leg. We'll drape it over our right for our figure 4. Squat the hips down. Inhale to lift. Exhale, we'll press the left heel back behind. Drop the toes. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, humble warrior, soften and bow. Inhale to lift. Now we'll keep our left hand circling up and around to open the chest towards the left side, warrior 2. Inhale, reach the right hand up and over, reverse warrior. Exhale, connect our right elbow, right knee, reach the left to the top of the mat. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, drop the left hand, pivot around, a gentle twist. Exhale, drop the right hand, frame out the right foot. Shift forward, take flight in your warrior 3. And we'll draw the left knee to the top of the mat, reach it tall, and set it down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale to our chair pose. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Engage the core. Exhale to fold. Drop the hands, step, hop, or float back. We'll shift forward, chaturanga to an up dog or a cobra. And then press the hips up and back behind, down dog. We'll slide the hands one hand's distance closer towards our toes, adding more of a bend to the knees, maybe even walking the feet a little further from each other. So we can really press the hips up and back, having a long line of energy from our fingertips up through the hips towards the sky. We'll shift forward like we're moving to a tabletop, bending the knees, but we'll hover those knees over the mat, pressing into the earth with the fingertips and the toes. And then we'll drop the knees the rest of the way down, untuck the toes. Inhale, shine the chest forward, lift the eyes and the hips up, drop the stomach towards the mat. Exhale, we'll curl in towards center, arching up through the spine, tucking the hips and the chin to the chest. We'll move back and forth with our cat-cows as we intentionally slow our roll, slow our breath, and come back to a more calm state. And we'll move back to our tabletop. Strong through the back, strong through the core. And then we'll walk the knees towards the outer edges of our mat and bring the big toes in till they touch. Now sending the hips back towards the heels or finding our wide-legged child's pose. We can keep the hands out in front of the body. We can stack the forearms and bring the forehead to our stack, or any other variation that helps you feel comfortable in this pose. We'll really focus on sending the hips back and rounding through the low spine. And we'll start to lift back up to our tabletop, but keeping our knees apart. We'll scooch our left hand underneath of the chest. And with a nice big breath in, we'll reach our right hand up towards the ceiling. Now exhaling that right arm as far to our left side as we can, as we bring the shoulder and side of face down to the mat. We can press into our left hand to help us twist a little further or wrap that left hand around the back. Or we can allow the chest to be soft towards the floor, finding a variation that feels good to you and your body. We'll press down into our left hand to unthread our right to reach the right arm up. And then we'll bring it down, a full in and out breath cycle to reset. And with our next in breath, we'll lift our left arm up. Exhale our left hand through our right side. Bring shoulder inside of face down. And we'll press into our right. Unthreading our left, reach the left arm up. And drop it down. We'll walk the knees in closer. And we can either cross the legs and roll over, or we can take both legs out and around in the same direction. We'll make our way to a seated position in the middle of our mat. Extending the legs out long, we'll give them a little bouncing out. Now we'll do a little bit more with our hip flexors here, engaging through the legs. So we're drawing the kneecaps up. The heels may lift off the mat, they may not, and that is all on anatomy. But we'll reach tall with the toes. Shifting the chest forwards, we're working those hip flexors and we're sitting with a long spine from the sit bones up. We'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Now if your shoulders are talking to you, you can always drop your hands down to your shoulders instead. But we'll bring our attention back to our breath. At the end of each exhale, we'll recheck that posture, sit us up just a little bit taller, sending the chest forward, the arms up, reaching tall with the toes. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And with our exhale, we'll slowly circle the arms down and around. So they're behind the body. We can wiggle out the legs some more to allow them to soften. Then we're going to walk the hands a little further away from the hips towards the back of our mat. Our fingertips are pointed away from the body. We're gripping into the hands. And now from here, we'll draw those shoulder blades into the spine as we lift the chest up, finding a little bit of a back bend as we're opening up through our heart. We'll take a few deep breaths here, allowing our breath to deepen the stretch, allowing the breath to expand the rib cage. Find a little more space between the collarbones to shine the chest a little further forward. And to exit out of this pose, we'll start to roll the shoulders forward, soften through the abdomen to give us the space to walk the hands in towards the body, wiggling out a little bit. We'll slide the bottoms of the feet down to the earth in front of us, sitting up nice and tall through the top of our head. We'll start to engage through the core, pulling our ribs and hips a little closer together at the front of our body, drawing the belly button in. We'll bring our arms on either side of our legs, palms up towards the ceiling as we start to shift back. Now we can keep our big toes down on the mat as our kickstands. We can bring our shins parallel to the floor, or we can fully extend our legs out long, focusing on a long spine, reaching back with the top of the head, getting out any extra wigglies or any extra energy that we have here at the end of our practice. And then we'll start to slowly soften or float our way down to the mat. Bringing a full body stretch in, reaching the arms up over the body to the back of our mat. Pointing the toes off the front. Take up space. Be big on your mat. We'll start to make our way to our Savasana. We could find any final poses here that we would like first. We can find a gentle twist or move back through our happy elephants. Anything that you need to make your body feel just a little bit more comfortable here in our Shavasana. Making your way to a comfortable position when you're ready. Allow the shoulders to be a little further away from the ears. Maybe dropping them down to the earth. Or just shifting them down the spine, depending on how we are resting. Let all of the points of our body that are touching the floor be heavy into the earth. See, as if being cradled, being held and protected here. We'll soften the muscles of our face. We'll maybe even wiggle out our lower jaw side to side to help us release some tension in the neck, in the jaw, back of the head. We'll close the eyes if we haven't already, or we'll let our vision go a little soft. Now bringing a large breath in through the nose. We'll let it go from the mouth. We'll do 2 more. Big breath in through the nose, expanding the lungs, expanding the ribs, expanding the abdomen. An open mouth sigh to let it go. One more time, maybe even the biggest in-breath we've taken yet this practice. A few more sips of air at the top. And we'll fully let it go. Now for the next little while, we'll allow our exhales to be a little longer than our inhales. Now if your mind starts to wander, you can always bring it to a count. Breathing in for a count of 3 or 4. Breathing out for a count of 6 or 8. Or we can notice how it feels in the body. Fully letting the breath go. Maybe even pausing at the bottom of the breath. Noticing that point where the body softens naturally towards the floor. How there's a moment of stillness before the body starts to crave breath again. And then we'll take another big breath in before fully letting it go again. And we'll bring another large breath in through the nose. And open mouth sigh to let it go. So we start to invite some movement back into the body. Wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. When you are feeling ready, go ahead and roll to one side or the other. Take our moment of gratitude here. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today, for taking this time out of your day to focus on moving in a way that feels good to your body, for allowing yourself this moment to slow your breathing, to come back into your body, to calm your mind, and to show yourself some care, some attention, and some love. Give yourself a nice big mental hug. You can start to make your way to a seated position. We'll bring one hand down to the floor beside us and reach the other arm up and over for a side bend. Inhale through center. And exhale, we'll move to our other side. Inhale back through center. And we'll close our eyes one last time, either bringing our hands to heart center or leaving our palms open to receive on our knees. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love, go in light, go in peace, and go in joy. Now, if you have made it all the way through this practice, leave me a sunshine emoji down below so I know you watched all the way through. You can also leave me comments of what your favorite asana, favorite pose, or favorite flow was down below. I love hearing from you. Now, you can also check the links down below to find my social media accounts, to find more videos, or follow the links down there to my Patreon if you would like to further support me there. Thank you so very much. I truly appreciate you.